So, hello everybody. Today is the hottest day since ever here in Germany with 39 degrees. And the only thing one can do is to hide in a cellar if you are so lucky to have one. But even my cellar is at 27 degrees already. So, lots of sweating going on, and that fits nicely to the Bitwig 6.1 release, which is now available in beta 2. And the main two things are the updated sampler and a tuner. And I wanted to show you the feature of the new sampler, which I found most interesting and is a little bit tricky to understand. So that's the main reason why I did this video. But let's start slowly. What I did here is to have a simple polysynth here, which pretty boring. And what I did to show you and explain you this feature is just to record 4 notes. So it increases, and then I did simply render it to a clip. So we want to put now this rendered clip into the sampler, and you can simply drag and drop that here into the sampler. It bounces that again, and here it is. Let's play a note. So, and what you hear is it's simply repeating what we put in there, and if you play a higher note, it renders that, but in different speeds, as expected. But what is now available in the updated sampler is you have this dynamic pitch, and you enable it up here. So normally each sample you put into a sampler, especially with multi-samples, have assigned a specific root note, but now we have dynamic pitch in Bitwig Studio, and you enable that by clicking here. And I'm not aware of any other sampler on the market, be it hardware or software, which can do such things, but correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But nevertheless, let's simply click on that, and what that does is it changes the whole sample to one pitch. So this is pretty crazy. So if I now play the C and also watch here the tuner, so it will readjust the whole sample now to a C, the C I played. So even if that would be something totally different than a C, which is a first note, it gives you now a playable sound. And let's play a different note. So we have now a G, so we can play chords. But sounds a little bit wobbly, but you still can tweak that. For example, you could set a loop now. And the release. And you could also experiment with the new mode. So this is a clean mode, but we could have the analog mode with some crunch. Or the more digital one. And for sure, you can always animate that. For example, let's put an LFO on there. Maybe like this. Let's slow it down. So you can very easily get interesting sounds, but that's now a very easy example. Let's pick something different. For example, here I have used a sample from the Bitwig library, which is a bass guitar. So pretty complex stuff. Let's try that as well with the sampler. Let's put it in. How does that sound? Doesn't sound at all because we need the solo here. So as expected, it simply plays the sample, but now again, let's activate the dynamic root processing, and you see it detects also here the pitch, and you could also open that up in the big view, so see that a little bit better. You also notice it's not perfect, the detection, but nevertheless it's working. And what also is interesting is that it creates these rhythms where it cannot really tune it as fast, I guess. But this is actually interesting to have this effect. And if you play a chord, again, we should loop it. Also, a trick, if you get clicks on a loop, you could use a ping pong, then it plays forwards and then backwards. But this gets also nicer if you use the other mode. So repitch just simply plays the sample, but if we go more here into the textures area, add a little bit of effect on it. You get pretty quickly very interesting sounds, or even the fragments mode. Very interesting effect sound as well. Very nice. But what I also always find interesting is if we go into a direction which was not intended by the creators. So why not put in a whole song in there? That's also interesting. And I put in here a song from my solo project here and there. It's called, this project is called Mossifier. Sounds like this, more slower ambient song with very different parts, so it's interesting to skip through there and find some interesting potential for the sampler and for loops. And let's drag that in here as well. Here we are. And this takes a little bit more time to bounce the clip. And then let's analyze it straight away. That also takes a bit. So, and from a whole song, also there's a problem if you have chords, for example, it cannot really find the correct pitch. So, but that makes it interesting because you will then get pretty unexpected results with it. So, and we are finally done. Still sounds like the song. But what we could do now is to put a loop somewhere or start it somewhere else. Especially if you made shorter loops, but it's maybe easier if you do it here. Let's move that a little bit closer. Let's zoom in. Here we go. Maybe let's start here. So you can create beats through that. But again, that makes more sense in the other modes. So let's straight go to fragment. Maybe you could use that as an intro. Yeah, something like that. Or here's another experiment I did. Let's have a listen to that. And you could also add effects, as always. Or add a flanger or something. You can also create hits with it. So very interesting potential with lots of ideas and things to try out. And I hope you learned something. And yeah, show me what you did with that as well. Write me down in the comments what you're doing with that. And until next time, make some funky music.